Greetings, everyone. Obviously, this is Father Joe once again. I'm happy to be with you in a slightly different setting this morning. This is called my little office, my little cubicle, which is located here in the rectory at St. Catherine's. So I'm delighted to have you with us and for this Ask a Priest segment. We have a few questions this morning for our consideration. I'm sure you have more, but we'll just do these three for today. I have two in front of me, but it's my understanding that there is a mystery number 3 that will be coming at me. The first question that has been submitted is a rather interesting one. It's, what is the exact moment of the Mass when the bread and wine become the body and the blood of Christ? And I'll never forget when we were studying liturgy in the seminary, this question came up. And it's amazing the things you remember, because I don't remember a lot of what I heard in the seminary at this point. But I do remember this. I do remember our professor of liturgy saying that you really cannot isolate an exact moment when the bread and the wine become the body and blood of Christ, because the entire Eucharistic prayer is consecratory. The entire Eucharistic prayer. And I'll never forget the professor calling the Eucharistic prayer at Mass the priest's keynote address. Some people think that the homily is. Some priests even think that the homily is. But according to this professor, the Eucharistic prayer is, and it makes a lot of sense when you stop and think about it. So the entire Eucharistic prayer is consecratory. So to pinpoint an exact moment is somewhat difficult to do, even though those beautiful words of institution, this is my body, this is my blood, lie at the center of it. The entire prayer is a prayer of consecration and blessing. But it's a very, very good question. And whoever submitted it, thank you for doing so. Second question, what advice do you give a person who is grieving the loss of a loved one? I'm sure over the course of 39 years, I've given a lot of advice to people, and it really depends on the person and the person's particular circumstances. Everybody goes through grief differently, but grief in every case is tough. I can only imagine what it's like to say goodbye to a spouse after one has been married for 40 or 50 or 60 years. That will never happen to me. And I always stand in tremendous awe and humility whenever I'm invited into a person's life after the loss of a loved one for that lengthy period of time. Grief is hard work. It's tough work. And the best advice that I can probably give to people across the board is, do not grieve in isolation. Do not retreat and do not withdraw. I've tried to do that myself. And in all honesty, it does not work. And I know so many others who have tried to do the same thing. One has to stay connected with loved ones, with God, with a faith community with whom you can gather and worship on a regular basis. Obviously, I think in many instances, one's faith is shaken when a significant death occurs and you find yourself in the throes of the grieving process. But please, please, please do not isolate, do not separate. There are a lot of good professional resources out there as well that you can touch base with at a pace that is best for you. Some people prefer to be very, very private and very, very personal. Support groups may be for them, they may not be for them. They have never been, for me, something helpful. But seeking out one-on-one help and support, and just seeking out one or two shoulders to lean on, to help guide you through, makes a lot of sense. So please, obviously, if we can be of any assistance to you here at Blessed Trinity Parish, all of us as staff are more than happy to do so. So, on that note, I do have in front of me a little prayer card It's a prayer written by a Howard Thurman. I have no idea who Howard Thurman is, but Howard Thurman has written this beautiful prayer that I just leave with you, and hopefully it kind of keeps you connected where you need to be in the midst of your own grief. He writes, I share with you the agony of your grief. The anguish of your heart finds echo in my own. I know I cannot enter all that you feel, nor bear with you the burden of your pain. I can but offer what my love does give, namely the strength of caring, the warmth of one who seeks to understand the silent storm-swept barrenness of so great a loss. This I do in quiet ways, that on your lonely path you may not walk alone. So please do not walk alone through it. And now question number 3 is floating in, just like manna in the desert. I can only imagine what this is. What do you make of Father Peter saying nice things about you lately? I am totally unaware of the fact that he has been doing so. But on rare occasions when he does so, I must admit it makes me a little nervous, because you never know what lies around the corner whenever he speaks in that vein. Obviously, Father Peter and I love to kid each other and to rib each other, in case you haven't figured that out by now. And I think that that's a real mark of respect that he has for me and that I obviously have for him. And I could not be any happier about that. I hope and pray that you have some life-giving relationships in your own lives, where you can really poke fun at each other as well as be serious, as a way of showing how much you care. We hope and pray for that. Having said that, enjoy the weekend. There's a long weekend coming up. Hopefully it's a good one for you and for your families. Get some rest, enjoy the beauty of nature, and let's keep on praying with and for one another as we continue to gather around the Lord's table for the strength and for the nourishment that we need. Please come. It's an honor to do so with you.